I'm not going to be stupid and say that a guy who's 6'7", 6'8", with his myriad of skills and championship pedigree, who just averaged 30 on 57% shooting in 11 playoff games, ain't no way in hell they going to win a championship. That's just ignorant. I'm not going to say that. What I'll say to you, Max Kellerman, is that I have my doubts, and I have strong doubts, and they're for several reasons. Number one, I'm on the record. I would not give Kawhi Leonard a long-term contract. I don't blame the Clippers if they do, but I wouldn't do it. Because even though I consider him a top 5 talent in the game when healthy, he's not a culture builder. He's a guy that grabs his lunch pail and does what he does. And at the end of the day, when the buzzer sounds, you know that when tip-off arrives, he shows up. But practicing when you want to, working out when you want to, playing when you want to, and what have you, I just don't think that's a great thing. And from everything that we've been told, that's what he does. Nobody said he's a bad guy. Nobody said teammates dislike him or anything like that. I'm not trying to engage in that kind of cynicism. I'm simply saying, look at the games played. You know, the last few years, he hasn't played more than 60 games, I think the last 4 years. This man takes time off, and he operates to his own beat. And even though that works for him, it compromises everything else. It's similar to what I said, Max, if you recall, when Kyrie Irving was talking about we don't really need a coach. My response was, Kyrie might not, because he's electrifying, he's box office. But those other players did. And when Kyrie went down and Kevin Durant was looking for help, it was hard to find because of the lack of an experienced person on the sideline to make sure all of those dudes around them were ready. Now, I think Steve Nash will learn from that and be even better this upcoming year, and I think it helps that he's not going to have Mike D'Antoni on the bench with them, okay? But the bottom line is that was a hindrance. When I look at the Clippers, I think about Kawhi Leonard and how that hinders you. I also think about the fact that I'm thinking about Luka Doncic. And Luka Doncic in 6 of the 7 game series that they played, Max, 31, 39, 44, 42, 29, and 46. Where's the hell is the defensive ace that was Kawhi Leonard to do something about that kind of individual dominance? Because that's what Luka was doing to them, which is why the series went 7 games. We got to pay attention to that. We got to pay attention to significant competition in the Western Conference. The only reason why I wouldn't summarily dismiss what you're saying, Max, is because I happen to think that Ty Lue can make an argument that he's the best coach in basketball.
That's right.
Right now.
And
because he's that good of a coach, and you've got some personnel around him, not to mention you got over that hump finally getting to the conference finals. The drafting of that kid Keon Johnson I like as well. I'm just looking at the Los Angeles Clippers. Do they have a chance? Yes. Would I bet my money on Kawhi Leonard? No.
Well, in the playoffs, it would be wise to bet your money on Kawhi Leonard because he's one of the all-time great performers. You mentioned Ty Lue. I believe he is the best coach in basketball. We saw it again these last playoffs. If you go back and look at Kawhi, a great offensive player, Stephen A., is going to get his. I don't care who's on him. You put Dennis Rodman on a great, but if Dennis Rodman.
No, you mean Luka Doncic, right? You mean Luka Doncic?
Yeah, Luka. I'm saying
you
could put whoever you want on a great offensive player. If they got it, there's not so much that can be done, particularly in this NBA, the way the rules are enforced. So, do you believe, yes or no, Kawhi is a great defensive player? I believe he's one of the greatest defensive players ever, even if he's not quite what he was a couple years ago defensively. I'll give you that. He's still a great defensive player. You go back and look at the playoff series, like you mentioned, 30 points a game, 55, 58% shooting, whatever. Here are his playoff series, just going back to 2017. This is what he averaged in each series. 27, 32, 24, 33, 29, 30, 35, 28, 26, 24, 31. He's doing it on great shooting, and he's doing it with defense. Like, even if you think he's not a culture builder, any great team's going to have at least 2 max contract type guys nowadays, right? Can Kawhi be one of them? Yes, he can.
Yes,
and he'll frequently be the best player in the series.
You cannot justify not paying him. Like, I think year to year. Here's what I'm trying to say, Max. I have no problem with Kawhi Leonard's money. I think he deserves every penny. It's the years that I have a problem with him with. Well, because I think durability is a question mark. And I think his level of commitment towards being something more than just a great player plays a role in here. The thing
but
that
that's
where
why.
But
That's
you and
why
I jump
like
on.
him, Stephen A., on the long-term deal. Because if it was 1 or 2 years, maybe he doesn't win a chip with them. But remember, the Clippers have never won a chip.
Okay, that's fair.
Or even been there. You give him 4 years, I think he can get it done.
Okay, that's fair, but that requires trust. And what I'm saying to you is that when you're in Kawhi Leonard's position, I personally believe you have an obligation to be more than just a great player. You got to be a leader. You got to be the face of a franchise. If LeBron James pulled a portion of the stuff that Kawhi Leonard has pulled,
You never hear the end of it.
we would
Yeah.
be all over him. We would crucify him. It's a shame, and Kendrick Perkins was right when he said that. It's a shame that Kawhi Leonard has flown under the radar and has gotten away with some of the stuff that he's gotten away with in hijacking the Clippers organization.
But, Stephen, I think part of that is how he lays low. You know, he's not on social media, doesn't talk much, so he can't fly under people's radars. You know, and I just want to mention one thing, guys. He is just 30 still. I mean, when we're talking about guys, Steph's older than him, KD's older than him. I mean, we know the Lakers, so he still
He's
does
a
have
superstar.
talent.
He's
Yeah.
a superstar
And he's a
talent.
champion
He's a
with
superstar. He's a
multiple
superstar
teams.
talent and a champion. I'm just talking about when you talk about building a culture long term, you can't have young guys around constantly seeing that stuff. You taking off when you want, you play when you want, and all of this other stuff. That's not a good thing to build. So he forces himself out of San Antonio, okay? He goes to Toronto. Yeah, they won a chip. He missed 22 games that year. He moves, he goes on to the Clippers. He misses 25 games the next year. This past season, he missed 20 of the 72 games. And so what I'm saying to you, Max, is that, again, just to crystallize for our audience here, you and I have debated about this, a very healthy debate about it, because you prioritize the postseason and the chip. That's it. That's the end all, be all to you. It's not that I don't prioritize it and believe it doesn't matter. But I also believe you get paid to show up for the regular season games too. Because there's customers that walk through the turnstiles looking for you, and far more often than should be the case, they don't see Kawhi Leonard. Because this brother missed some games. Load management, sit down to prevent injuries that ain't even happened yet. Okay? Practices when he wants, plays when he wants, all of this other stuff. I look at the $176 million as a talent, Max. He's worth more than that. As a talent, he's worth more than that. As somebody who's the face of the franchise that you need to trust to elevate your franchise, to market and promote your franchise, I tell you that man deserves a pay cut. Because I have a hard time trusting him. So again, the talent, he's underpaid. That brother's a top 5 player, top 6 player. He's a superstar. Just finished averaging 30 on 57% shooting, 39% shooting from three-point range, and 11 postseason games. But do you understand, Max? And here's the difference between me and you, and then I'll give it back to you. Do you understand I can make a legitimate argument that he's cost a couple of franchises a championship, even though he's got 2? If you think about San Antonio and some of the things that was transpiring, you had players walking into the locker room questioning him. That was reported, okay? It wasn't comfortable. When you look at the Clippers, if Kawhi Leonard, and again, I'm not questioning the sincerity of his injuries, the legitimacy, not at all. But if Kawhi Leonard doesn't get hurt, Max, we might be sitting here today talking about how the Los Angeles Clippers are the NBA champions.
It could be.
Because
I
they
think
would have
so,
beat
as a matter
Phoenix.
of fact. If he doesn't get hurt this last year, they win. Yep.
They would have beat Phoenix, and I think they could have beaten Milwaukee.
I agree.
So again, I'm looking at him, and I'm saying, don't we have an obligation to discuss that?
Yes,
I think we do.
I have a question for you. It's not rhetorical, and I'm curious as to the answer.
Sure.
Let's take a dude who we grew up to one extent or another watching and admiring and loving and rooting for, who always showed up with his lunch pail and gave everything he had to a franchise. Big Patrick Ewing, right? Patrick Ewing, but was unable to deliver a championship.
Right.
Not all his
Jordan
fault, but he was
standing in his way.
He was
Jordan and then Tim
and they
Duncan
didn't get
with
him
David
enough
Robinson.
offensive help. They never really got him another all-star scorer
And
while he was
Olajuwon,
great.
yes.
Okay, he didn't do it. Versus Kawhi Leonard, let's just say I could tell you right now, Kawhi in year 3 or 4 of this deal will deliver a championship. Until then, and even that season, he's going to miss about 20 games a year. There's going to be load management. He won't play this year. Next year, they'll come up short, all that. Would you rather sign up for the Patrick Ewing dude who shows up every day, the fans love him, the whole thing, but comes up a little short? Or
No.
for Kawhi Leonard if he delivers?
No, but I got somewhat of a trick question for you.
Ooh.
Let me retort with that, okay? Fair enough, because I agree
Touche.
with you. I agree with you with the Kawhi Leonard compared to Patrick Ewing point. But let me take it a bit further and ask you a question. What if I told you that I could have a chance to win it without Kawhi in 3 to 4 years, rather than keep him on board?
How so?
What decision would you be tempted to make?
If you gave me a better option, if I thought the odds went up, I'd say see you
That's not what
later
I'm
to
saying.
Kawhi.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I think they'd rather do it with Kawhi. He's from there.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. And I'm not comparing Terrence Mann to some Kawhi Leonard.
No,
but
Terrence
we
Mann's
both
very good.
acknowledge. But we both acknowledge he's got an upside. We both saw Paul George play like a star. We recognize that Ty Lue might be the best coach in basketball.
I think he is.
This brother is a superb coach, okay? And we saw what they're capable of. All I'm saying to you is this. I know Kawhi's on another level. But if you giving me 3-4 years, and we talking about culture building. I got a new arena I'm going to be moving the team to in Inglewood. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to share the Staples Center. We talking about culture building here, where you want guys that grab their lunch pails and they ain't about missing action. They about being in action. When we talk about the greatness of Kevin Durant or LeBron James, MJ, Kobe, and others, let's keep in mind one of the things that we don't say enough about them, but we must applaud, is that they knew they were the marquee or know they're the marquee, and they answer the damn call. They're always there. They're in front of your face on the court. They're in front of your face on the camera.
I want to answer
they're
that.
leading, they're galvanizing, and they're culture building. It
I
matters.
want to answer that. Your question, the premise is, Max, this is not an either or. You can have both. You can culture build and win a championship, and that is my preference. Agreed. That's the number one option. When it comes to winning a championship, brother, you take it how you can get it. It is hard to win it.
It's hard.
So that is the number one option. If that's not available,